Can talk about cheesesteak still, but we're going to go live.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Wrestling Nation, World Wrestling Live? We're here again with another amazing wrestling coach in our country. This one is Pete DiPol. I made sure there's no I there.
Yes,
and
sir.
He's out coaching Western Christian out in Iowa now. He is from New Jersey, the New York, New Jersey tri-state area. He was a 9-time Coach of the Year. 5-time New Jersey state champion as a coach at Camden Catholic in New Jersey, over 300 plus career wins. He's coached at the college level as well at Baker and McMurray. He now has transferred out to help build up a young program, and he's got a kid that's going to the 9th grade. That's a stud. So we'll talk a little bit about all that. And Coach DiPol, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I know it's earlier out there.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you having me on and giving me the opportunity to speak with everybody today. And I think you're doing a great job. I think what you're doing for wrestling is tremendous. And, hopefully a lot more people keep tuning in to what you're doing. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And Coach, I know we've all been through this, this hurry up and wait process right now. So talk a little bit about that. I know you're out in Iowa, so you probably weren't as quarantined as the rest of us, just with the spread out area that you live in.
Yeah. I think we're a little bit ahead of everybody else. We're in Northwest Iowa. It's a little bit more wide open out here. Our faith, in God, we believe in God and that He's going to take care of everything for us. And that's where we're at. So my parents, I set up my garage wrestling room about a month ago, and we did some private lessons in here with some youth wrestlers, and obviously we took some precautions, but we weren't going to let that COVID stuff scare us. We took precautions and did what we had to do, but we want to live, we want to live life, and wrestling's a big part of that. So that's what we do out here.
Absolutely. Well, I'm here with Coach Pete DiPol. Please feel free to share this on any platform, Coach. And so welcome. I know that you spent a long time in your home state, and then you decided to kind of travel around the country. I know probably your son had a lot to do with it. You were bringing him around to different areas to get some good wrestling in.
Yes,
you
sir.
decided to leave the long historic program of Camden Catholic and move on. I know you made a couple stops at some colleges, and now
Yes.
you've been kind of implanted or supplanted, or
Yeah.
of firmly the last 2 years over at Western Christian, and turning around a program that might have been struggling a little bit. Talk about how that is, what you're doing there, and the growth of the program.
Yeah, I think I've taken everything I've learned. It's been a long journey. I had a lot of success at Camden Catholic in New Jersey and a couple public schools out there, and then in the college ranks. I have a good buddy out here that has a couple sons that wrestle at Western Christian, and it was a struggling program. I think when I took over 2 years ago, I walked in there maybe with 4 kids, and there wasn't no feeder program, there was no junior high program. So what I did was I started a youth program, and the first year we had 20 kids. The second year we had about 45, and we're about projected to have about 70 for this upcoming year. And then I started the junior high program, and then it's a process. We're having some success at the high school level. For the first time in school history, we made the playoffs. We had 3 state place winners this year. We had a kid who made the state finals last year. So this was all done in a 2-year span. But I think the biggest thing is just trying to get people to buy in and introducing them to wrestling out here. People think of Iowa and you think of wrestling, but in Northwest Iowa, it's been struggling for a little bit. It's not like Central Iowa or Eastern Iowa. So we're trying to build Northwest Iowa up, and I'm trying to get local high school coaches to get on board with what we're trying to do.
That's awesome, man. Well, good to hear. You're obviously doing things right and bringing that tri-state wrestling blood over to Iowa and putting
Yes,
it in
sir.
place there.
Yes,
So
sir.
you spent a long time at Camden Catholic. I know that was home. You did a lot of big things. And uh,
Right.
what was the decision to kind of say, okay, I want to take my wrestling prowess elsewhere?
Well, it was a couple things. I mean, I was there for 5 years. I had a really good mentor in Gary Papa, who's a legendary coach out in Jersey. And then we were able to get things rolling, and we got on the national scene. Had a couple teams that were nationally ranked. What happened was actually my daughter got really sick. She had bacterial meningitis,
Oh,
and so what I decided to do, to run a program the right way at a national caliber program like Camden Catholic, I just felt at that time I couldn't do that with her being sick. So I ended up stepping down, and then thank God she recovered with no health issues. And about 5 months later, I talked to my wife, and I'm like, I need to get back into coaching. So I ended up taking over a public school program, Haddonfield, and there in a 3-year span, we beat Camden Catholic. They were the number one team, and then we beat Paulsboro High School, who their legendary program out there. So I had a lot of success, and then I ended up going to a JUCO, coached there for 2 years, and then kind of made my round, nationally, Baker University and then McMurray College. But it was tough leaving Camden Catholic, because I knew what type of program we had, and I'm glad to see, they kind of were down for a little bit, but now one of my really good friends is the head assistant coach, and he's got that program bounced back. I mean, they're tough now again.
well, good. Well, first of all, thank God that your daughter is okay. I know
Yes, sir.
that bacterial meningitis is no joke. I had Colton Kirsten on earlier this week,
Yes,
and
sir. So
man, he talked about fighting that, and he wasn't supposed to make it, and he did. And so, thank God he did.
yeah,
Thank God your daughter did, and that's good.
absolutely.
And with that being said, it's a good thing that wrestling got you back in it, because obviously you do big things. It's something you're passionate about,
Thank you.
and congrats to that. Talk about you've coached college kids and you've coached high school kids. Talk about the difference between the two athletes.
I think with the college kids, they have they're already established. They kind of know their direction, where they're going, but you can still be a very positive role model for them, and kind of help them, figure out what's the next step in their life, not just in wrestling, but in life. And I think that's what's the most rewarding, not so much the wrestling part of it, but like right now, I'm still staying in touch with a lot of my college wrestlers, and just to see them, they're getting married, they're having kids, they're having families, they got great jobs, and those are the things that are the most rewarding for me as a coach. But it's just kind of, the college athlete, you gotta kind of steer them away from the bad choices and the temptations out there. I think there's a lot of temptations, but it's no different at the high school level. It's just different temptations. But I think at the high school level, it's about building relationships with kids, and their parents, and trying to get them to buy into the wrestling, and teaching them to be, not only good wrestlers, but good men or women, off the mat as well.
And now that you've done that as a coach, how much easier is it to prepare your high school athlete for the college level?
I think it's a lot easier, especially the process, especially when I'm talking to my high school athletes, their parents, I can kind of tell them, what to look for in a coach, what to look for in a college coach. One of the things I say, or is the college coach talking about how they're going to develop your son, as a man, as a person, not just as a wrestler, or academics important. you know, are the college coaches when they're recruiting your son, are they putting other programs down? Because that's a turnoff, you know. You know, I like to look at, you know, when I'm helping my kids through the process, I like to see college coaches that are selling, you know, their program, their vision, and what they're doing, and not tearing down other coaches. But it's been good. It's, you know, I enjoy it. I think it's been very helpful. You know, we have a young man that took second and third in the state, and right now he's going to be a senior. He's starting to explore his options. So it's been fun to kind of guide him and mentor him, and kind of talk to his parents on the different things to look at when they're going through this process, because it is stressful. It's a stressful process, and you have so many coaches contacting you. You don't know, sometimes they just don't know how to handle all that. So I kind of give them a little perspective and try to work with them to help them be successful in doing so.
That's awesome. And how about the wrestling aspect of it? I know that I talked to different athletes and people like yourself. I've
Right.
spoken to since the beginning of April, and they say that the level of wrestling changes. Like you were a state champion in high school, and now you're in a room where everybody was the same thing, and you just got to get to work.
Yes, yes. And I think, you know, you have to make sure kids are realistic. You know, it is different, especially, you know, you're the big guy on campus, you know, in high school, and then you go away to college to wrestle, and you might not have success right away. And a lot of times kids, they might not be able to deal with or handle that adversity. So it's always important for the coach to be aware of those type of things. You know, I know we had that when I was at Baker University. Kids with tremendous amount of success at the high school level, they come in and it's, man, they get shell shocked by the level of competition, and you know it. And I think, you know, for a kid looking to go wrestle in college, you know, they got to find the right fit. You know what? You know, don't shy away from D3 or D2 or NAIA or junior college. You know, I think, you know, everybody gets excited about D1 wrestling. You know, I mean, you know, everybody wants to wrestle D1, but you got to really look at what fits for you as an individual, and really take your time and really explore all your options before you make a choice for college.
Nice. Well, you've been to, I know everybody talks Iowa and thinks wrestling just because the Hawkeyes are there, and that's
Right.
right now it's Hawkeyes or bust. It seems like in college wrestling,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
really building a thing out there. But you come from that tri-state area, and I've spoke to coaches as the program has grown. I've gotten coaches now from all over the place, and I mean, I talked to a
Right.
Pennsylvania coach earlier this week that's up there in that area, and he was from Ohio, and I asked him, what do you think? And he said, man, I was kind of naive. I thought Ohio was where it was at. He goes, man,
Right.
the ground and pound in the tri-state area is just
Yes.
insane. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the different levels from New Jersey to Iowa, and what what you see.
Yeah, I think I get that question a lot, and you know, I don't want to make my Iowa friends mad, but I always felt that New Jersey, obviously New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and Ohio, I just feel New Jersey's tough, man. It's a tough place to wrestle. It's tough to get to the state tournament. They only have one state, you know, one state champ or one classification. And you have a lot of hotbeds, and you have of wrestling, you know, in South Jersey, in Central Jersey by the shore, North Jersey. You have a lot of really top-notch club coaches, and it's very, very competitive. So that's what stood out to me in New Jersey. And Iowa's as tough as nails too. I think in some aspects, with Iowa being spread out in certain areas, you know, that kind of hurts. Whereas in New Jersey, you have a densely populated state, and you have clubs like 20 minutes apart, and they're all hammers, you know, and they got really good coaches. the thing that I really enjoyed about Iowa though is the history of wrestling here, the culture. I just think it's really cool, man. They really, the kids do little parades, for this, when they're leaving school for the state tournament. The communities get behind them. They got the cheerleaders, which, I wasn't a big fan of that in Jersey, but I think it adds to the, I think we didn't even have that in New Jersey, but I think, and I was like against that, but now I'm like, you know what? That just brings more people into the wrestling community. The cheerleading parents, they come and support their daughters and the wrestling program. And then, you go to the state tournament and you got Gable there. You might run into the Brands guys and brothers and just, it's just different. It's different. But I have tremendous respect for Iowa wrestling and New Jersey wrestling. I mean, they're just two great wrestling states.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know if you heard the Scorpions are bringing their club to Florida.
Yes, I'm very familiar with the Scorpions. I had a lot of Scorpions whip my butt when I was a little guy.
Yeah, everybody says that that's going to be really good for the state to get a high-power club like that down here.
Absolutely.
I talked to Paul Garcia, I think his name is, in Paramus.
Okay.
A champion something. He was talking about it. I got there, Pete Gonzalez, maybe Pete Gonzalez.
Yeah, I know Pete. I know Pete real well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, Iowa's got some tough clubs, man. I was real impressed with Seabolt Wrestling Club. I have a lot of respect for that club. And it's just like, there's clubs like that in Iowa, but then in New Jersey, it's like for everyone in Iowa, there's like 20 of those.
Yeah.
And it's just the intensity and then it's just it's good. It's good. There's a lot of competitiveness and it gets a little crazy. Some of those club coaches, they get a little territorial.
Oh yeah, well, I think that's in the water up there.
Yeah.
And
it's different.
well, I know you got a young man now getting ready to go into high school, and
yes, sir.
And he's a pretty good wrestler. And your son, Angelo, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So talk about the growth of him, what you're looking forward to doing, and how he's been blossoming.
I'm excited. I mean, he's done really well with wrestling, but the thing that I'm really the most happy about is what wrestling has done for him as a person. It's really shaped who he is, and I think that's what wrestling does for everybody. It teaches you how to work hard. It teaches you responsibility, work ethic, doing the right things. And I think that's what, I'm most proud about with him is he's a very well, I guess, very respectful, worldly, he's been, I think, to 8 different countries, thanks to my buddy, Jarrett Lewis, who runs these trips all over the world. So, we're excited and he's not going to wrestle for me. Everybody's kind of shocked about that, but I don't know, we get along good, but I'd rather have someone else kind of coach him. So he's decided to go to Baylor, the Baylor school in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and wrestle there. And we're excited about that.
Good for you. And good to hear. I look forward to watching his name through the ranks. And
yes, sir.
From what I understand, Chattanooga is a town that once you get there, you never want to go away. It's supposedly that type of city keeps you there.
I could see that. I could see that. He loves the fish, so he's already kind of told me, they got good fish in there. So
yeah, has he? I'm curious. Has there been a country that he's been to where he would say, "Wow, that was that one place, that wrestling or that culture was just badass"?
That's a good question. He's been to a lot of places, and he went and wrestled in India. And the first night he called me, he's like, "Man, Dad, don't ever send me back to this place again." and then I was like, "Man," I was like, "Well, that's good. You're getting out of your comfort zone. You need to experience these things." The second day he called me, he's like, "I want to come back here. I love it." They were wrestling in the dirt. he said they're real spiritual about their wrestling. They bless the ground before they wrestle. He said a lot of the older coaches there, the elders, I guess, they I don't know what they were smoking, but they were smoking something before they run the practice.
That's like that movie. What was that movie with the girls?
Yeah, I know. Oh man, I forget what it's called, but good movie.
Yeah.
He really had an appreciation for the culture and just for their love of their wrestling. I think the wrestling I think they call it kushti or something like that. He would know, but he really enjoyed that, and I think those trips, really taught him, a lot about the world, but just interacting with different kids from different countries. He's got buddies now in Russia and Hungary and Sweden, and he still stays in contact with those guys thanks to all the different social media. But it's been really good for him. I would encourage parents, if you ever get a chance to send your trip or your son or daughter overseas on a trip, a wrestling trip, do it, because it really opens up their mind and just gives them a different perspective on different cultures out there. So it's been.
Yeah, I saw
good for
that
him.
Going into the off season, CFW put out their schedule and they had a planned trip overseas for kids that wanted to go, and then of course the place was Italy, which was like the hardest place hit in the world.
Oh yeah, so, I know it was not.
That didn't happen. Well, nothing has happened, so we're all kind of sitting at home now. But man, that's awesome. Thanks. And what weight should we expect him at?
Oh, he's going to be a 106 pounder. He's it's kind of crazy. Last year, we were just talking about this. Last year when he was competing at schoolboy nationals, he wrestled 70 pounds, and he didn't cut any weight to make 70. We were really worried if he was going to be big enough for 106, but he's been hitting the weights hard, and we've been doing a lot of different things with his diet, and he's about 104 right now. So he's put on about 34 pounds.
Oh, good for him. I'd like to see, he's definitely got a tough kid in Elijah at that weight over at Lake Highland Prep. So,
oh yeah.
It'll be fun to see them go at it.
Well, yeah, we were looking at Baylor's schedule. He goes through a meat grinder there for 3 weeks. I think they're at the Ironman, then the Stampede, and then some other tough tournament. And it's like, dude, you better get ready, man. You better get ready.
Yeah. Hey, well, listen, if he ever wants to come on the show and talk wrestling, he's welcome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, Lorenzo's and Sons or Pizza Ranch?
Oh, Lorenzo's and Sons, man. And then what's crazy? I'm gonna catch a lot of heat for that because the town that I coach in, that's where Pizza Ranch was invented. Like that was the first store.
But it's not Jersey pizza.
It's not, man. It's not.
All right, Battleship, New Jersey, or the Hoover National Site?
Battleship, New Jersey. Easy.
I'm in trouble here. All right, the tenderloin sandwich or the pork roll?
Pork roll, baby.
Man, Iowa, you're getting your ass kicked here.
Oh yeah, my mom and dad brought me out a lot of pork roll last week. Some scrapple. These they don't even know what scrapple is out here, man.
At Adventureland or Six Flags?
Six Flags.
All right, Lucky's Last Chance or the Dairy Dandy Drive-In?
Oh, Dairy Dandy Drive-In, I guess, yeah.
The Field of Dreams House or the Thomas Edison Park?
Man, that's a tough one.
That looked like a cool place. That Field.
I actually never been, man, and I really wanted to go to see the Yankees there. I'll go to Field of Dreams.
All right, Iowa's coming back strong.
Yeah.
All right, Jersey tomatoes or Iowa sweet corn?
I'm going to really make a lot of people mad. Jersey tomatoes, and I will tell you this, Jersey corn is way better than Iowa corn. I just was telling one of my wrestlers because they keep telling, Iowa corn is supposed to be the best. I'm like, man, I don't know. Jersey corn's pretty good. I'm in trouble. I'm going to be in trouble,
Yeah,
man.
you better stay in the house for a while.
Right.
The Iowa Cubs or the Camden River Sharks?
Well, we got to go Iowa Cubs. I think the River Sharks are gone.
Oh, okay.
We used to go to some of their games. It was pretty cool.
So this coming college season, the Hawkeyes or the field?
I got to go Hawkeyes, man.
Yeah,
See, that's what's crazy. You know, I grew up in New Jersey, but I always loved the Iowa Hawkeyes since the time I was probably 5 years old.
Well, they are
Love the
stacked.
Hawkeyes. Yeah, I love them.
All right, here we go. Tomato pie or breakfast pizza?
Tomato pie. Tomato pie. I didn't even know what breakfast pizza was until I got out here, man.
I saw they had like a taco pizza, ranch pizza.
Yeah, they got some stuff out here, man. I'll tell you what, I love the Iowa, like the lifestyle. I love it out here. Love it. You know, if I could take the East Coast, like the Jersey food, the Philly cheesesteaks, and bring them out here, this would be wonderful.
Oh yeah. So, like I was going to say, you go like, I don't know, tasty cakes, Philly pretzels.
Yeah.
Pierogies.
Yeah, we like my parents just came out, man. They brought us a whole bunch of tasty cakes, the pork roll, the scrapple. They brought me a bunch of Wawa pretzels, the Philly pretzels.
Wawa took over Florida now. When they started opening up here in Florida, people were like, "The hell is Wawa?" And I'm like, "Let me tell you a story. I went to Philadelphia because my wife was going to optometry school up there.
Okay.
So I go up there, and I was in the car business at the time, so I get a job at a car dealership. And one of the other guys is like, I'm like 25 or something, right? And one of the guys like, "Hey, come on, you got lunch with you?" I'm like, "No." "Come on, I'm gonna take you for a sub, best sub you'll ever eat." And I'm like, "Okay." We pull into a gas station. I look at the guy, what the fuck is that? A gas station? You're gonna give me a sub at a gas station? What the hell is wrong with you? He's like, "Just come on." So I walk in, and it's like a sub shop. It wasn't a gas, like you walked in and it was, and it's legit, man. It's legit. It's here in Florida, and it's taken over too.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I love Philly cheesesteaks, and you just can't get them out here, man. You know, there's times where I just want to get in the car and drive to Philly just to get a cheesesteak, man.
You got to put a little Philly cheesesteak stand out there.
I was ready to have them shipped out here, man, but they charge a lot. It's like $100 for like 2 cheesesteaks.
Well, Philly. What you got to do is just get the Amoroso rolls sent out to you. And then you just chop up the steak and throw it in. Exactly. That's where the money's at, is the Amoroso roll.
Absolutely, man.
Oh man, I miss Nifty 50s, the little diners.
Yeah.
They had. I still can see the menu, and on the side of the menu was every single flavor Coca-Cola you could imagine in your life.
Oh yeah.
You could put blueberries in there.
Peach, whatever you. Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what, man. Though the Iowa out here, they got some good steaks. They got some good New York strip. Yeah, I would go with their steaks, but man, a Philly cheesesteak. I
mean, they're known for Iowa's known for their Rocky Mountain oysters too. You slamming those?
I'm not messing with that nonsense. I tried to get my son with that nonsense once, man. Like, I ordered him, like, "Yo, eat this, man." I think I
let me stick with a shrimp basket. I love it. Hey, Coach, man, thanks so much for coming on. And anytime you want to do this, man, just hit me up and we'll do it. And I'm just having a great time, and I'm glad that I could create this platform. And
absolutely, yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate you for what you're doing, because this is good, man. Wrestling has so many life lessons, and I enjoy watching your show and just learning from other people and hearing their stories. Wrestling is just, I love it. It's great.
Yeah, it's been amazing for me as a parent too, because like I learned stuff from the coaches, obviously, but sometimes I say the wrong things as a dad when my kid is done wrestling or going to wrestle. I'm like, "Oh God, just go or whatever, right? You know,
Right.
like the parent
Right.
thing. But I learned a lot of, you know, mindset stuff from everybody I've talked to so far,
Yeah.
and ways to tell him, you know, like I had uh, one of the one of the Morgan brothers on. Well, I've had them
Okay.
both on, but
Right.
David is up in Michigan, and just the way he speaks to his wrestlers when they're getting ready to go on the mat against a top ranked guy, to
Yes.
change their mindset. Like I was just that dad, like, who cares he's top ranked? Just go wrestle, right? But
Right.
but
Right.
he tells his wrestler, listen, what are we working on? What have we been working on to make you better?
Right.
Oh, we've
Right.
been working on single legs. Okay, well, here's what I want you to do. You've got nothing to lose. All I want you to do is go out there and I want you to work on single legs. See how many times you can get a single leg on this guy. Or if it's
Right.
double legs we're working on, or high crotch, or
Yep.
I just want to see how many times you do it. And he says you'd be surprised how many times they get to like the third period and they look up and they're only down 2 points or something,
Nice. Oh
because
yeah.
the mindset is just, hey, I'm just working on a drill, instead of thinking, oh
Absolutely.
my God, I've got,
Yeah.
Rivera on the other side and I'm getting
Right.
whooped.
Well, it's tough to be a wrestling dad, I think, and I think that's why, for me, there's a lot of guys out there that can coach their son, and for me, sometimes it's hard to separate that, dad, coach. So I'm real thankful we found great coaches for my son, and now I can just be a dad, and just let
And
him.
and not just a data fan, right? You can go sit in the stands,
Yep.
watch
Yep.
some wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Well,
it's
good
gonna
for
be
you,
good,
man.
man.
Well,
Yeah.
this was great. I had so much fun. And hey, if
Me too.
Angela ever wants to come on, just hit me up and we'll have him on.
All right, sir. I appreciate it.
Yes,
You
sir. You
you
have a great day.
you have a great weekend. Take
Yes,
care.
sir.